All right, and welcome back to another episode of Butler's Babble. Welcome back. It's Tuesday evening. It's been a beautiful hot day here in the Ottawa Valley here in Ontario, Canada, and I'm just gonna warn you now. I'm actually watching the stream over here and on my phone here just to make sure how it's going. I did another podcast last night and we were having some issues with video feed and stuff. So cross our fingers, things are going to go awesome today, and we're going to have beautiful picture and sound and everything. So hopefully I sound good out there. You can let me know if we don't. But just another little bit of housekeeping. Just remember, we are coming to you straight here through StreamYard. So we are live, but you can leave comments in the Facebook. If you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube live right now, you can leave comments down there. But if you can, go to streamyard.com/Facebook, and I'll put that link up here right here for you quickly, and give Facebook permission to use your or StreamYard permission to use your name through Facebook. And all that does, it doesn't send anything to you. It's not harmful for your computer. It's basically just allowing us to use your name when you make a comment or a question, and I bring it up on the screen. It'll show us who's doing that question instead of just saying Facebook user. So if you can, that would be awesome. But other than that, let's sit back and relax, and we're going to have you our friend here join us. And who we have today, we have Kari Petruch. She's a mother, she's a wife, and she is an author, master relationship coach, strategic interventionist, public speaker, and the owner of Highest Intent Life Coaching. And Kari, welcome to the show.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. It looks like you're having a little bit of issues there with your video feed, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like
there you go.
yeah, we sort of kind of crashed during the intro, so
I
yeah.
saw that down there, and I saw you come right back on, so I wasn't going to worry about it. And if that was the case,
Yeah.
we just waited for you. Don't worry. I can
Right.
find things to talk about until you got back. So I'm sure would rather listen to you than me. So
Right.
so you're out in Texas, you were telling me earlier.
Mhm.
So hopefully it's I guess it's really warm out there. I know people in Florida and Texas are telling me it's like over 100 degrees sometimes. And
Well, that's normal summer for Texas. Really, truly. I know the news is making a big deal out of it, but really, truly, 100 degrees, 102, 104, that's normal summer for us. So, you know,
And
eh,
over here, up here, I guess it would be in the Ottawa Valley. We're about 5 hours north of Toronto. I'm about an hour and a half west of Ottawa, Canada, and we've been getting the last couple of days maybe 28 to 30 degrees, and then at humidity it's like 35. To you guys, that would be probably in the 90s, basically between 92 and 96 or something like that. So not as hot as you guys get, but it's getting pretty warm here right now. Oh, I think we're losing her sometimes there. We're going to try and oh, there, I see you moving. I don't know if your mic's working still or not. Did we lose you? We apologize, everybody. We know that StreamYard's been having some issues the last couple of days, and I think we might have lost her there for just a second, but she'll be back. I know she will, even if she has to log off and come back in. Yeah, there she goes. But again, just let us know when you're watching these. Let us know who's there. Say hello in the comment section there. Even if you're watching this through the replay, when you go and watch it in the YouTube feed or something later on, if you're not watching it live, don't be afraid to leave comments or ask questions. We can still try and answer your questions. We do go back and find the questions and answer them best we can. Just put #replay so we know you're watching it during the replay. And don't be afraid. If you're on YouTube right now, go on, hit subscribe, and tickle that little bell, as they say, so that you get notifications when we come on and do these shows. Because the more subscribers and views we get, the more it helps this show out in the algorithms and gets us a little bit easier there in YouTube. And Kari, welcome back. I see you're having a couple little issues there. Oh, we see her. She's trying to get back in. Oh, now we see your picture. There you go. You're back.
I'm trying to. It keeps telling me that StreamYard is crashing. So,
Well, hopefully we can. It might be just on your end on your computer. So let's cross
right.
our fingers, because you and I did our an interview about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and everything seemed to be fine. It just seems that we've gone live and
Oh,
you're having
Oh,
some issues.
yeah.
You said you had
Oh,
issues
yeah.
earlier on another one too. So
Yeah, yeah. Did a whole check with my computer and my connections and all that stuff. Went and cleared my cache, updated, did everything that I could think of to do on my computer, but it seems to be going. So,
well, we'll try and see if we can get through tonight. And if it does
right.
keep knocking out, don't be afraid to just click the link and come back in. I see
Hmm.
Sonia Disher is on. She's saying, "Hi, John. Looking forward to hearing this podcast." So she's looking forward to hearing what you have to say. She's actually going to be a future guest of ours, possibly. So,
Cool
um,
beans.
yeah. So why don't we get right into it? And why don't we let
Right.
everybody know who Kari is and give us a little history about you and just let them get to know you a little bit.
Oh, where would you like me to begin?
You were born on a
So,
certain day. I'm not gonna
but
say when
yeah,
you were born. Don't say when you were
right.
born. Nobody listens.
So, I was born in Indiana. My early childhood was spent with a mother who suffered from paranoid schizophrenia. So
Okay.
I had a very odd early childhood. I didn't what reality was to me and what reality is to most children are completely different. And I thought that I there was something wrong with me because I didn't see people who weren't there and didn't see bugs on the walls that weren't there. And so what I thought was abnormal was me when my whole environment was abnormal.
Hmm.
And then I went to school and figured out that my home life was abnormal. When I
So
was
this
six
was
years
like at a really early age, around 4 or 5 years old. You're noticing all this stuff.
No, I didn't go to school until 6.
Oh, okay.
So, right. So I didn't really notice the difference until 6 years old. And there was an incident where my mother thought that I was some kind of demon, and she threw me into a glass table and
Ouch. And you were only
broke
six
my
at the
6 years old, and it broke my neck, and I was paralyzed on one side of my body and didn't speak for a year. So,
Wow.
right. I'm not paralyzed now, obviously, and I can speak now, obviously. So, yeah. So I did
Now, when you
recover.
say, can I go back there? When you said you couldn't speak or walk for a year, is this like a psychological thing, or was this more of a physical issue?
No, my neck was broken.
Okay.
So the paralyzation on my right side of my body had to do with that.
Okay.
Not speaking was psychological,
Okay.
you know. Right.
I just wanted to put
So,
it in the wavelength so everybody knew what was going on. So no, that makes sense. Okay, so now of
right.
course after a year you're getting all that back starting to that.
Yeah, after about I only had the paralysis for 6 months and began to walk again, and after a year I began to talk again. Um, there's a beautiful story that my grandmother used to tell all the time, and that was I came into the kitchen on a summer morning, and I had a butterfly on my shoulder. And the first words I said was, "Look, grandmother, I have a butterfly on my shoulder." And she, they had feared that I would never speak again, and that those are the first words that I said to
Wow.
her. So,
And most kids, when you're waiting for them to speak, they're waiting for them to say mom or dad and things like that. But this is a
yeah.
whole different idea. So this was probably a big smile on Grandma's face when she heard that.
She actually fell to her knees.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
she just and cried because they everyone had given up hope that I was ever going to talk again. So, um, that just because I could talk again, though, I was very introverted.
okay.
I was very quiet and didn't say much of anything. Although my grandmother told me that early in my childhood I was very vibrant, um, very talkative and very vibrant, but it changed me. So.
Definitely, that would. So at this time, you didn't start school until 6, but you didn't go to kindergarten, right? So 6 is usually when grade 1 starts. So did you go right into grade 1 then, or did you still go into kindergarten?
One.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't required when I was little. So
Okay. So did this affect your schooling then? Because this happened when you started going to school, I take it. Because you're 6 years old. Is that when you were
mhm.
thrown into the table?
It was the summer before I it was the summer before I actually started school that it
Okay.
happened. So, I did, they did put me in school even though. So,
Okay. So at that time, you
mhm.
were just maybe starting to get walking again or close to, but you still
Right.
weren't speaking,
Right.
which was kind of, I guess, rough going to first year in school, grade one. You got all these other kids and you're not speaking a word. So was the teacher worried about teaching you or?
No, no, my teacher didn't. The only thing that ever really that I remember happening to me that wasn't good was that my teacher got upset at me because she told me to write my name on the line, and I literally wrote my name on top of, on the line instead of above the line. I wrote my name on the line. So, yeah, that's really my only negative memory of first grade. So,
So now you're starting to speak again. I guess school was it over or grade one over at that time, or was it like in the summertime, or did you start speaking while you were in that first grade?
it's the summer between first and second grade.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you started speaking. So I
Mhm.
guess that summer was a lot easy, a lot nicer for you then, because now you're able to walk. You're probably able to run around. You're able to talk and stuff like that. Were things at home getting a little better for you, or
I was at my grandmother's house,
okay,
so things were better. Yes.
yeah, and that's good. So mom wasn't in the
Mhm.
picture by this time.
Very intermittently.
Okay. So she was living
Right.
on her own and she was would get, I guess, visitation with you, things like that, or just
Mhm.
when she felt like it, come and see you, or
She would appear now and again.
okay, makes sense. I understand. And so now
Mm.
you're going back and now you're going into grade two. It must have been a whole different experience for you now because you're walking, you're talking, and were you starting to make friends at this time or
No, I was not that girl that made a lot of friends. I was very quiet and I observed people.
Mhm.
I was very, very observant of what other people were doing, other kids were doing, other adults were doing. I was very quiet.
So more of an introvert while you were in school?
I was I'm still an introvert.
So at this point, like,
Mhm.
are kids, are they staying away from you? Are they trying to befriend you and you're just quiet and not doing it? Or are they just like,
No, I
no,
don't think that making
they're
fun of I don't think that any of that stuff was mattering in second grade. I didn't really I don't really remember any bad memories until about fourth grade, which is most adults around, 9, 10 years old when kids start to get mean.
yeah, that's true. And then,
Yeah.
but during that time between, say, um, I guess 7 years old at this time, you're in grade two, and say 10 and 11. What kind of
Mhm.
person were you growing up like at home? Like, of course, you're at school, you're closed in and more introverted, not talking and too much, just
Mhm.
like you said, observing people. What about home? Were you more staying in, reading books, watching TV? Were you going out and playing a lot? Did you have
Uh,
friends around your house that you would play with?
I played alone a lot and with my little brother.
Okay,
I didn't, and I followed my grandmother everywhere. And I wanted to learn what she was doing, and she would teach me.
okay,
Um, teach me the cooking, cleaning, sewing, all of those things. I was very interested in being as close to her as possible because
very
she was
cool.
very loving and very healing and very warm to me. So she was an incredible force for me.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that because with the
Mhm.
stuff you went through at an early age, it's nice to see that like some kids don't get out of that and they think that's the normal and they're in that for most of their childhood, basically all the way up into their teens until they realize that I don't need this or they go a different path, a dark path. And you luckily had somebody you could rely on and go and you only have the one brother.
I do only have one brother.
And he's younger or older?
He's younger.
Okay. And so both of you were living with grandma then, because I guess it was just a whole toxic relationship for all of you there. So,
Yeah.
so what was your relationship with your brother like growing up? Was it really close or?
I was very protective of him.
Okay.
I was the older sister, so I was very protective of him. I didn't want him to get in trouble. I was the big sister and took care. I, but we argued a lot. So, as some siblings do, we argued a lot, and when we got older, we were teenagers. We kind of went our separate ways in our lives, like teenagers do. He had his
Sure.
friends, I had my friends in life. So yeah, we're still, brother and sister,
Yeah.
and
So
we get
back then you were
along.
probably pretty close because you had each other to rely on, which was really nice. And
Well,
sister, I can understand that.
I didn't really have him to rely on. He had me to
No,
rely on. So,
but with that, like when you say you were very protective, was he more of an
mhm.
outgoing child? Was he more going out there and doing
Oh
things?
yeah, oh yeah. He was in trouble all the time. So
So yeah, you were like the mom figure for him, basically.
yeah, yeah. He was in trouble all the time, and because of my early childhood, I think is where I found the need to be there for him and be protective of him. So
Okay. So you start
yeah.
going through the school, and when did things
hmm
start changing a little bit for you in school? Was it more like around the 10, 11 mark, or was it more when you got in teenager age?
More like
Okay.
10, and 9 in the United States. That's fourth grade. Was 9, 10, that time period. Kids started noticing the differences, and how
Mhm.
they find those differences and they point them out and they make fun. And it started with, there was a movie, Carrie, that had
Yeah, I
come
remember
out.
that movie. Yeah, with Sissy Spacek.
And right, and I was not permitted to watch that movie. I was way too young to see such a thing, but I guess some kids were allowed to see that movie, and then they poke at me and make fun of me. They were pretty cruel. I wore dresses all the time. My hair was down to the middle of my calf, back in
Oh,
a braid. Um, I didn't, I wore glasses, so I was a little different. Um, and I didn't speak very much.
yes. You kept to yourself. You were,
So
like you said, that was just the way you were.
pretty much,
Now, were you
pretty
starting to
much.
make some friends at that time, or
No,
no?
no,
Still pretty much on your own.
just
That's gonna
watching.
be hard going through school there, where you just go every day and you're just by yourself the whole time. It's got to be hard and rough on the psyche a little bit.
I didn't feel like it was hard. I felt like it was easy not to.
Yeah.
It
Hey,
was
everybody
easier just to
starts.
watch them. It was effort to. I think I was in fifth or sixth grade, fifth grade, the next year when I actually found a friend.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
And and at this time, were teachers noticing something with you? Were they worried about any of it, or were they just not really didn't think about it?
I was very attached to my teachers. I was very interested. I was one of those kids that was an avid learner, soaked up information, very, very smart child. So I was a teacher's pet. I was next to them every opportunity that I could get because I trusted them.
Mhm.
So I was more attached to my teachers than I was any other kid
Okay.
when I was grown up. So
No, that's good because at least you're getting the learning in, and they were
hmm
helping you. Now, like you said, you getting into grade, I guess 5, 6. That's when you said you started making friends and stuff.
I
Um,
made a couple. I made a couple of friends
yeah.
once I got to grades 5 and 6, and yeah, and
Were they like you, more the quiet kind, or
no, no,
total opposite?
um, total opposite. Yeah, they were full of life and talked a lot and tried to bring me along and get me to do things with them and to sing and dance and things like that and play, we played Barbies when I was a
Mm.
kid and to play Barbies and do those kinds of things. Yeah, they were more outgoing and leader kind of girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you find, looking back, and do you think that that whole experience with you and your mom back at 6 years old, up until when you started meeting friends, was it more of a trust issue? You just didn't trust anybody, or was it more just not really any real reason at all? You were just quiet.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I really don't.
Probably never been asked that question.
I know that I'm still very observant, very empathic, very intuitive. I'm still very I can be loud if I need to.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, just like everybody else, I can be loud if I need to, but generally speaking, my voice is not loud, and I try not to. Not even try. I just don't. People tell me
Mhm.
to speak up all the time, so um, it's
It is
just
what
who
it is.
I
That's
am.
just who you are.
Yeah.
That's in your
Right.
personality. Nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with
Right.
having empathy. Nothing wrong with being observant and things like that. I think those are great
Yeah.
traits to have. So, I mean, a lot of
Well, my
people hate.
grandmother used to have this saying that was just incredible. She used to tell me, Carrie Jane, listen here. You don't ever have to worry about somebody who talks all the time and wants to be heard and is loud and the whole world hears them. She says you need to be careful of the quiet ones.
Yeah. So we got to be careful of you. Don't be careful of me, because I'm the loud one. I'm the
Yeah.
one that talks too much and is at the party saying, "Would you shut up?" Because people just say I talk a lot. So maybe that's why I'm good at what I do here. So,
Well, no, no. I mean, part of my quiet too is I have hypervigilance because of the transition of the abusive environment into a marriage where hypervigilance was required. So I was a learned behavior then that went into that, before you're five kind of stuff, and it translated into the relationship I had with my husband. So,
okay. So,
um, right.
well, before we get into that, let's talk more about your teen years. So now you're a teenager, you're in junior
Hmm.
high, 6 to 8. You're now out with all these friends, and they're trying to get you out to party and do not party, but to be more outgoing and things like that.
Wasn't allowed. I wasn't allowed to be out at parties at that age. So,
But what
no.
was your personality like now? Because now it sounds like you're starting to actually open up a little bit to people. And did your
Yeah,
schooling
two.
change at all?
Yeah, two people.
Hey,
That was about it.
sometimes that's all you need.
So, yeah, I think 68 was a time of quiet still because kids were fairly cruel, and I'm very very sensitive, very empathic, and I felt a lot of those feelings, and I hurt for other classmates when kids made fun of them. It was really really hard for me to watch them, so I stayed quiet, not to avoid, but because I hurt so much for what was going on. But it really began to blossom when I started high school.
Okay. So that you
Yeah,
started opening up a bit more. And
a lot more.
and if I'm not mistaken, was it high school, I guess, where you started getting into more clubs too, doing stuff like I think you were into getting into choir and drama and things like that?
Choir and drama and competing vocally, and I started playing the guitar so that I had accompaniment when I was singing. And I played the guitar for a long long time. I was still introverted, but learned to overcome that, and I found that freedom on stage, and in choir. So,
What made you, when you think back though, because you were, like you said, very much an introvert all the way up until high school, just your personality. And
mm,
now all of a sudden you're getting into stuff like choir, you're getting into drama, you're playing guitar while singing. These are things
Mhm.
that are more of a public thing, and where you have to be a little bit more outgoing and be willing to be vulnerable in front of people, because you got to sing in front of people. You're going to do drama. That's like on stage in front of people. What caused that switch? Did somebody bring you into it and you're like, hey, I kind of like this? Or did you just decide, you know what, I want to try that?
Um, I think I had when I first started high school, there was a drama class that I was in, and I think that my drama teacher saw something and brought that out in me a little bit. But um, I don't want to sound too strange, but on the stage uh, and singing while performing, I really wasn't too aware of who was out in the audience. I was kind of in my own little world. Um, I really didn't. I would be that character, or I would be that song that I was singing. I really didn't get that fear that I was standing on stage. Now, public speaking was a different story. That became
Yeah.
um, something for me to overcome later. But for being in a play, or being in a choir, or doing singing competitions, that I I I was transported into a different kind of world,
Okay.
and I really wasn't aware of the audience so much as I was aware of the performance.
Mhm.
So maybe that might sound a little strange, but it was a way for me to do it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound strange at all. I grew up as a musician myself. I played drums and
Mhm.
stuff in school and in bands, and I've actually
Mhm.
been in school plays, and I was in the choir too. And I know what you mean. I think part of that kind of atmosphere is you're in an ensemble a little bit, whether it's a small one or a big one. So you've
Mhm.
got other people there to hope to get through it with. So that kind of helps. But I know what you mean, because you sort of tune out who's out in the audience. You tune out almost like there's nobody in there. It's an empty hall. Because once you start getting going, I agree with you. So it's not strange at
Mhm.
all. I know exactly where you're coming from. I think it probably would have been a little different for you when you're just playing guitar and singing and you're doing it by yourself. But like you said, in competition, but if you're able to just get in the moment and forget that there's anybody out there, I can totally understand that. Um, Public
Yeah,
speaking, it was you.
alone singing, same thing.
Yeah.
Transported into my own world. I became uh it was a safe place. I became unaware. I wasn't hyper vigilant at that moment. It became a whole different place for me to be, a place of solace, a place of comfort. It was pretty
Mhm.
amazing.
It is. I've been there. I know exactly what you're talking about. So it is an amazing feeling. And I know what you mean about the public speaking too, because I was the type in school that if I had to get up in front of just your classmates, no matter on a stage, and
Hmm.
recite a poem, or you had to recite a speech or something that you had to write for all these months, and now you had to sit and talk in front of it in your class. I was the cotton in the mouth and the sweaty hands, and my voice would probably go up an octave or two. I was like you. I was terrified, but I overcame that myself over the years. I had different ways
Hmm.
that I was able to do that. That's why I'm able to do stuff like this, where I can be talking to people all over the world through this. And other avenues that I do. So I mean, I know exactly what you feel like. So we're
Right.
getting to high school. You're doing a lot of that stuff. You're starting to break out of your shell a little bit. And
Hmm.
where do we go from there?
We went, graduated from high school, and I decided not to go to college. I decided to go into the Army for a while.
Okay.
And I was in the Army for a while, and then I got married.
Okay. And how
Right.
long were you in the army? Just a couple of years or
4 years.
4 years? Oh,
Mm.
that's amazing, because I never would have pictured you as in the army, but I think that's awesome. And what kind of division were you in with the army? Just in
We need to float into the marriage.
Okay. So now let's go into the marriage. So,
Hmm.
where did you meet your husband? Was that in the military,
High
or did
school.
oh, you met him in high school? Okay.
High school. Yeah.
You both went to school together.
Hmm. Right.
Okay. So
Hmm.
let's go into that avenue. Let's talk about that.
Right. We went to high school together, and then we decided to get married, and I got married at 19 years old. I started dating him at 16, and I married him when I was 19.
Okay.
And he had gone into the Army also.
Okay. Now, was this still in Indiana, or were you in Texas by this time?
Oh, I was in Texas by this time.
Okay, you're in Texas by then. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you both went into the Army together then.
I went in first, then he went in.
Okay.
So.
And then after that, you both get out of the Army.
No, my ex-husband did not get out of the Army.
Oh, okay.
He stayed in the Army, and I stayed married to him and had 3 children.
3 beautiful children.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And so let's talk a little bit about, let's go into that now, into the marriage part, because that didn't go so well.
No, it didn't. It really didn't go well.
No. So did that start very early on, or?
No, I think it started after the kids were born.
Okay.
Yeah, it got more and more difficult, to the point where there was a lot of control that
Okay.
went on, and a lot of abuse, and that's why when the kids were grown, I left.
Hey, when there's
Right.
if
So
there's
I
a way
mean, it's not something that I want to go into in great detail. It happened. I got through it, and I was married for 27 years, and I decided to walk away and start a new life, and to discover what the world was like. And when I walked out of my marriage, I had, if you can imagine, I was 45 years old, and I did not have a credit score. I didn't have a bad one. I had a 0. I had no credit score. So if you can imagine what kind of control it took for me to not have any credit history whatsoever, or not having a checking account or savings account or any credit cards or anything like that. So that's what I left, and I'm not there anymore.
Yeah. And then I remember when I was talking to you a couple weeks ago, you were telling me a funny story about when you went to get your first credit card.
Oh yeah. The bank didn't want to take one bank didn't want to take a chance on me. They're like, you have no credit, you have a 0 credit score, and so I went to another bank, and I won't name the bank name because
Yeah, of course.
But,
we don't need.
Right, but I went to another bank, and I was able to tell them the story. It was funny because I had saved so much money in an account, and this other bank didn't even want to open a checking account with the money that I had because they didn't know where the money came from. So when I went to the next bank, I explained my story and the whole thing, and the lady that I talked to walked away, and she came back and she said, "You know what? We're going to take a chance on you." And they gave me a $500 credit limit so that I could establish credit. They took a chance on me. I had the funds to cover that credit card. I had the cash to do it. But it scared people. How could you have this much cash and not have a credit score? We can't trace you for any bank account. We can't. You basically financially don't exist. And that's where the first bank freaked out and was like, no. But this bank here in the town that I live in Georgetown, this bank, they took a chance on me. I have a great credit score, and
And I know what you mean because I even told my daughters that, like, when
Mhm,
my oldest daughter, she's 22 now, and when
mhm,
she was just getting herself established and she went and got her first credit card, we told her, like, be sure you keep up on it
mhm.
and just build that credit because in this day and age, it's hard to do anything. If you want to do a big purchase, such as a house, of a car, anything like that, you need to have some sort of a credit rating that they
Mhm.
can go by and say, yeah, this person's, we can lend them this money because we know that they're pretty good at paying their stuff back. And so
Well, there's more to it now. Employers are checking your credit score.
that's true, which is
They
scary.
are.
That's
Mm.
scary.
Of course, it's scary, you
That
know?
would be a whole new podcast we can go on there. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of scary things that they're doing right now, you know?
Yes.
I talked to this young lady that I know who's also about the age of your daughter, and she's on Facebook, you know, just showing pictures of her partying and having a really good time, and I'm like, you know, your potential employers are looking on Facebook at you.
Hmm.
And she
Trying to
went,
see what it's
"What?"
like.
And I said, right, they're doing a whole social media search about you. They're doing credit checks. They're checking you out these days. You don't really have any privacy anymore. The only privacy you have is stuff you don't put on Facebook or social
Yep.
media. And she really got freaked out, and I'm like, you should be.
Yep. It's a
You
scary
should be
world out
freaked
there.
out. Yep.
So by this time now, you've got good credit, you have three beautiful
Mhm.
children, and life's starting to get better for you. Is this what did you at
Absolutely.
that time? Is this when you started up your business, or you actually got remarried again? Did you not?
Mm, not right after that.
Okay.
Right after that, you know, I went and got therapy, you
Okay.
know.
Hey,
I
nothing wrong
and
with
I
that.
and I decided what I wanted in a husband, what was important to me to
Hmm.
have in a husband, and through my therapist and learning about, you know, I've always been that person that anybody could talk to. I've always been that person that helps people with their problems, but at that time I needed to help me with my problems.
Yes.
So, you know, I had a great therapist who said that if I went into another relationship without changing how, you know, setting what I wanted and what my goals were for a life partner, that I was going to repeat the same thing. That I was just going to go for the thing that I know, rather
Hmm.
than going for what's best for me. And
Yeah.
she taught me about, you know, how to look for that love of my life and what to make sure those values matched. What
Yeah.
are my values? And to
Hmm.
make sure those values matched. And she, you know, my healing wasn't about finding another husband, but it was also with self discovery, what my boundaries are, what my limitations are, what I expect for communication from not just my partner, but other people who have relationships with me in my life. And I
Hmm.
became totally fascinated with all of that and said, you
Yep.
know what? That stuff works and I want to do that. And
Yep.
that's what landed me into the coaching realm. Did not want to be a psychotherapist or a psychologist or a social worker. Wasn't interested in that, but coaching seemed like the most wonderful place that I could use my assets, my experience to help other people. You know, there is a place for therapy, but I'm not a therapist. So
But I think also with your therapy you were going through and learning all that stuff about yourself, it was a matter of
mhm,
learning how to trust others too, because you've been through so much through your life
mhm.
between childhood and then into your 27 years of marriage. And I'm sure by that time, your trust to trust anybody was pretty shot at that time.
Well, you know, you would think so.
Yeah.
You would think so, but what was strange in me is that I had this overwhelming belief in a power greater than myself.
Okay.
From the time I was a really little girl, I believed in God, and I always had this powerful faith in God, that no matter what happened to me, it was never shaken. And my grandmother said, born that way.
Yep.
I just did. And so Um, I throughout my life had the propensity to trust people when I shouldn't.
Okay.
I had this the way my way of thinking was I trust you until you prove you can't be trusted.
Hmm.
And I love my husband because my husband's the opposite. He's like, I don't trust you until you prove you can be trusted, you know?
Yeah.
So we're great balance for each other because, I'm still that way. I still believe in the incredible goodness of people. I believe in the power of that. Um, let's see if this works.
We can
I
still hear
believe
you at least. We can
Okay,
still hear
I believe in the power of good, and that most people out there are decent people, and that's maybe lofty, optimistic thinking, but my husband and I are due balance for each other. He is the one who is not trusting of people. He is the one who will kind of help me and point things out to me that I might not see. So
you.
you would think with all my upbringing and all of the trauma that I went through as a child and as an adult that I would not be trusting, but I am.
Yeah.
I
It's just your
I
nature.
have no explanation. It's nature. I just believe that um, in mostly the goodness of everyone around me, and I believe in people and their ability to find that joy and excitement and be close to each other and find true intimacy.
Yeah.
I just believe in it.
And it's funny because I think you and your husband are like my wife and I. Right now I'm the extrovert. I know you're not an extrovert, but I'm the extrovert.
Hmm.
I'm the one that's like you. We're going to make this much money this year and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And she's the one I'm the optimist basically. And I'm the one that's out there and
Hmm.
I'm giving everybody hugs and everything. She's the like, okay, show me the money. I want to see it first before you say we're going to do this. I want to see it first. She's my yin to we're each other's yin to the other's yang or whatever they call it. And
I
she's
know,
a total opposite in
and
that way. She's herself.
isn't it a perfect balance for the two of you? I'm introverted, but my husband's extroverted.
Yeah. And that's like her. She's
Very,
introverted. I'm extroverted.
very outgoing and very, but doesn't trust people.
Yeah.
I'm introverted and very optimistic, and it just works well because we balance each other. I've had clients who come to me and they're like, "Oh, but we're so different," and I said, "How exciting! That's so wonderful!" And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, how boring would your life be if you were just like each other?
Yeah.
We're put together in a way, whatever power you believe in, what even if it's your own power, there's a put together in a way so that you can grow and learn. And if I love to tell couples, if you have absolutely no discourse, if you have absolutely no arguments, if your everything is perfectly fine and hunky dory, then your relationship's dead
Yeah. You're not going to
because
grow.
we're meant to grow. We're meant to grow and learn and discover, and sometimes that takes you know uh, conflict and when my husband I love when my husband says stuff to me that's truthful and that I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And my answer back to him is, I'm not liking you very much right now,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly.
and and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not meant to be perfectly acceptable all the time.
Yep.
If I'm supposed to do that, and who better in your life to know every nitnoid thing about you?
Yep.
You know, there's got to be that one person that knows that you fart in your sleep.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but there's got to be that one person.
Exactly. Yeah, and I make the joke all the time to people and that I say, "Oh yeah, my wife and I fight all the time," but then she realizes I was right and we're all good again, and they all say, "Oh, you're right." That's just
And
the way
that
I
is
am. That's
so
my
funny.
personality.
That is so funny. There are so many people out there who have so many opinions about, your relationship should be this or should be that or should be this. Oh gosh, anybody who's listening right now, your relationship should be the way your relationship should be.
Yeah,
There's no one out there that can better define what your relationship looks like than the two of you. And
yeah,
the only thing that anyone can help you do is to find tools that you can do to find solutions to problems that you made together and to get those solutions created together. I
agreed.
believe in the power of couples to solve their own problems. It is not, there's no pat answer for all couples. There's only your answer.
True. I think this is a perfect window to bring into your website here, because I think now we should find out more, because this is basically how you're talking is what you do for a living. Basically, is you work with
Hmm.
couples and you try and help coach them to have the best relationships possible, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. That is what I do. I guide them with the tools that I have. I give them simple tools to make simple changes. You want to put that book that's 365 pages and let it sit on your coffee table and never crack it open, you go right ahead.
Yeah.
My book is a simple 108 pages with simple, simple, simple guidelines, simple things that you can do, simple actions. We're all of us human beings don't want to totally turn our life around or flip everything on end and, oh, you got to change everything. That's a bunch of crap. You make simple changes. We can all do that. We can all do little things, one bite at a time. That's how I eat my elephant.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I totally agree with everything you're saying. And if anybody does want to grab your book, Get Out of the Box and Into Play: The Secret to the Lasting Relationship, they can get it on Amazon or right through your website there. And if anybody's wondering, her website is Highest Intent Coach, or did I say that right?
Mhm.
highestintentcoach.com. And
Mhm.
you can go and get her book. It's Highest Intent Life Coaching. You can
But
grab her
there's
book there.
something really special there too.
Yes, this
And
right over here.
that is the 50 things that couples can do for fun.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes, that you can get for free. You just sign up for it and it goes right to you.
Yeah, I think I saw it when I first logged on to this before we went on the air. I think it actually pops up
Right.
and tells you
It's
that.
a
Yes. So
There is
just
a
subscribe to
pop-up
your list.
there.
Yep. And I'm going to definitely have to do that, of course. And then what is this relationship recognition course?
It's a course that has 6 modules to it that you can take at your own pace, and it follows along. It's video and follows along with the book. If you complete the course, you buy the course and you complete the course, then you have a lot more gifts coming to you after that. So,
Oh,
right. So it's a beautiful, beautiful video course, and you can take it one bite at a time and take as long as you want to.
that's awesome. Everybody likes gifts, so
Mhm.
why not try it out? And it's all it's going to do
Mhm.
is help you. I mean, it's not like it's going to hurt
Right.
you. Might as well try it out.
Right.
So I think a lot of people should go to your website here, because there's a lot of information. It gives a bit more behind the scenes of you, a little bit who you are. Because of course, if you're going to have somebody that's going to delve into your interpersonal things like that, you want to know a little bit about them. And that oh, there it comes. Right, look at that. There's the
There it
pop.
is.
It's almost like it knew we were talking about it. If you sign up here with your email and your name and get put on her
Right.
mailing list, you can get 50 things couples can do for fun sent to you. Is it just sent to them electronically? I take it through email.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Free download. It says that right up there. I just had to read.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yes.
yeah. It's a free download. Just, you know, you can, if you, and by the way, the fun thing about me when I have emails, when people sign up for things, the only thing I'm going to send you are more little tidbits of information. I don't use my email list to sell.
No, and I think that's awesome. I think most people, and
Hmm.
then most email lists have an option though. If they don't want, they can unsubscribe. But I don't think this is one
Sure,
that they
yes.
would want. This is one they wouldn't want to, of course, because all it's
No.
going to do, like, is help, and nothing wrong with that. And you
Mhm.
have a blog on there. What's on
Mhm.
the blog? Is this just little things that you write now and then, or is it just is this a ongoing thing that you do, or?
It is an ongoing thing. The website's in an overhaul right now, so these are the most recent blogs. But I have over 3,000 blogs in my library of blogs. I've been writing blogs for 5 years. So
Awesome. I'm looking at them here. Just
yeah,
some that says always and never affirmation. So it's just basically all tips and tidbits to help
yes,
couples out with the relationships.
right. No more than 3 paragraphs usually.
Okay. So it's
They're
not hard
just
to read it.
right. Nobody, just little things.
Now, is this the things that if they sign up on that mailing list and they get that 50 things to do for fun, are these the kind of things that get emailed to them every now and then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what
So
comes to them.
the blog comes to them exactly, though.
The blog, or if I'm inspired to do a video, I'll send a video. I just it's in thanks for signing up, and you that's just who I am. I'm a giver.
Awesome. And on when it comes to your business and the coaching and everything,
Mhm.
I guess anybody in the world can get a hold of you and apply for your services and things like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's all kind of
Anyone
like
in the world can contact. You can call my number, which is found in the contact us part. You can. I'm pretty sure my number's in there. Yeah,
yeah, it's right there at the
my
bottom. Yeah.
number's there. I can be reached there, or you can schedule your own consultation through Calendly, through my
Okay.
website. So.
And right down here. There we go. So you can just fill out your name and
Or
then
you
contact
can
us.
shoot me an email.
There you go. And I'm just trying to see if there's a link here for the Calendly, like you said. I'm not finding it, but they can always go on here and find you, I'm sure.
It's a pop-up.
Oh, it's pop. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
it comes up pretty. Try to leave the website.
okay. No, it left me.
It lets you. Yeah, usually when you go, it says wait.
Oh, okay.
If you want more information or want to schedule,
Okay.
then you can. Yeah.
I
So it
think I
gives
saw it
you
earlier when I went to, I wasn't getting out of it, but
right,
I was going to another tab and it said that to me. So I do know what you're
right.
talking about.
Yeah,
No, I
we're
think it's
still.
awesome.
Everybody's website is always a work in progress.
Yep.
So
Mine's always
we're
working.
always we're always improving. There's always more stuff on there, or I change it, or that picture at the beginning of the website.
Yeah.
That's my husband and I in Hawaii.
Oh, I think that's all. I think I'm just going to have to go and find that website again. And of course, what was it? It was in, what was the website again?
HighestIntentCoach.com.
That's why highest. That's where it wasn't coming up. There it is. I found it. The about page, and you said on the home page, and we're going to present, show screen, and here we go. So right on the top there is you two.
Yeah, that's my
Right there.
husband and I. Yeah, we're in Maui on the downhill bike ride.
Oh, very cool.
I know, it was so cool, and there's a pause during the downhill bike ride. There's a wonderful story about the Minihini that are there. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's just the tour guide tells us a wonderful story. But we decided to take this picture together. So yeah, it's in Maui.
And I just noticed here it says start with our relationship quiz and take the quiz. And there's
There's
your weight.
that weight.
Right there. It came up eventually. It's because I had the website on for quite a while, probably, and it thought I was not.
Yeah, it doesn't keep doing that. It stops after a while. So,
is that just more so you can get more background on the people before you start talking to them, or?
no, it's a quiz to let you know what the health of your relationship is, and if you need, because if you completely fail the quiz, you probably need therapy.
Okay. It almost sounds like those movies or the TV shows where the husband saw the wife on the magazine taking those quizzes in the magazine.
Right.
Oh, no, I'm in trouble now.
But hey, there are millions and millions and millions of women in the world that love to take quizzes. So
Yes.
that's why the quiz is there. So not saying that guys don't like to take quizzes too. Not saying that. I'm just saying that the majority of women are like, quiz. I want to
Yeah,
take a quiz. So
exactly.
we love it.
And exactly, because you used to see it in like the Cosmo magazines,
Mhm.
Cosmopolitan, things, and they had the quizzes. As soon as the guy saw that, you knew that there was going to be questions coming to you soon. She saw on that quiz and start quizzing you about it in person. How come you don't do this for me, or how come you don't do
Oh
that?
my gosh. Yeah, that's not that kind of quiz, I
Oh,
promise.
I'm just bugging you.
Yeah.
I'm
I would
definitely
I really tried to avoid it being that kind of quiz. I'm like, do
no.
you do blah blah blah? Yeah, no.
I think this is, and I think everybody should go out and try this book here. I thought I'm going to be purchasing
Mm.
my book. Um,
Oh, cool beans. Thank
yeah, I will
you.
definitely grab one and support your cause too. But I think it would be very knowledgeable to have. I mean, I if you look
Mhm.
behind me, I don't know if you can see it. Which yeah, this slide here,
I
and
think
over
okay,
the
so I'm
screen there.
looking. All
Yeah,
right.
you
Yeah.
see there
Oh,
now where
look.
those statues are there. All of
I
those
love
books
them.
are from past guests, and I've read 2.5 of them so far. So
Yeah.
I still have a lot there to read. So I'll bring your book into because I intend to
Yeah.
read every one of them because I think everybody that comes on here, I love the stories. Some of these are just their life stories and what they went through.
Mhm.
Some are like yours, where they're helpful books and stuff that can help any marriage out there, no matter if it's a good marriage, a bad marriage, doesn't matter. There's always things that you can improve on, and like you said,
Mhm.
to grow on. So definitely,
Well,
I don't.
yeah, you said good marriage, bad marriage. I do want to point this out that if you have children
Yeah,
and your marriage doesn't continue, you still need to build a relationship of friendship and love if you're still raising kids.
I agree with that. There's so many
Uh,
out there.
mhm,
I'm a portrait photographer by trade, and we do sports photos here. And there's so many
mhm,
um, families that I shoot the pictures of the children, and there's two families because they're split up, and there's some where they're amazing with each other, and they're just like, oh, I'm
mhm,
just going to order this because I know his mom's going to want one or his dad's going to want one, whatever. And then you get the other ones
mhm,
that give you a phone call and say, when that comes in, can you hold on to it? I'm going to come to your studio to get it instead of giving it to the league to hand out because I know if it goes to him and it's not the day that I'm got the child, I'm not getting it. Things like
right,
it's unfortunate. Like I see it all the time.
right.
So I think a book like this
Yeah,
can definitely help in a situation like that. To just learn, like you said, you still got to be friends. You still have a
you still
mutual.
do.
You have children together. You have to raise them
Hmm.
together, and you don't want them
Yeah.
to come up with bad habits themselves just because of how mom and dad are acting.
Well, and I try to, friends of mine and couples that I have had interactions with, I've tried to remind them that remember that the two of you are the example for your children and their future relationships with their wife or husband or life partner or whatever it is. You are setting the stage for who they're going to pick. And
Yes.
if you two aren't friends with each other and aren't kind to each other, then you're setting that stage for them.
Yep.
And usually they go, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they say, breaking the chain because
Mhm.
children seem to repeat what they see in their childhood, and then when they get into adulthood,
Right.
they repeat the things that happened to them to their, and it just keeps going on and on. It could be from
Mhm.
abuse, it could be drinking, it could be a
Mhm.
broken family that, like you said, that's not getting along. Anything. Children are
Well,
sponges.
we're all human beings,
Yep.
and you can't. I see a lot of talk lately about what you're talking about breaking the chain. Um, it's not possible for me to completely break the chain, but I can sure put a kink in it.
Yeah.
You know,
I love the way you worded it. I just love that.
you know, I
Yeah, it's
can.
look at it.
Because I'm a human being and
Yeah.
I'm fallible.
Yep.
I can't. There's no perfect parents because
Nope.
there are no perfect children.
Yep. There are no
Doesn't
perfect people.
no perfect people. You can do what authorities tell you are all the right things, and kids have their own. Guess what? They have their own minds,
Yep.
and they can make their own decisions, and they
That's
make
very
their own mistakes.
Yep.
You're not completely responsible or at fault.
No.
They are their own little human beings and have their own little minds.
Yep.
And so, I try to remind parents you're undoing what was done to you.
Mhm.
It's great to work on it, but never believe that you are completely
Yeah.
doing that. It will
We
be
always
generations.
Yeah, we always told my wife and I, we always told our children whenever we were angry with them for something, or whatever,
Mhm.
we always told them, well, it's our job to be your parent, not to be your friend, because it's our job to raise you with some morals and some ethics and some values that when you get to that age where it's time for you to leave the nest and go on your own, we hope we've given you
Mhm.
enough tools in life that you'll be successful in whatever you want to do, as not just in a profession, but as a person too, and in your
Mhm.
relationships. And all we can do is guide them the best way we can. And it's up to them. Like you
Yeah.
said, they have a mind of their own and they're going to do what they're going to do. But hopefully we gave you the
Right.
tools that you need. And that's all you can do, really.
Well, I can't remember how old you said you were, but
I'll be
I'm
51 in about a week and a half or
okay.
so.
So I'm at the top of Gen X, and we're right now the last of the feral children.
Yes,
You know,
I
we
agree.
we were truly, left on our own to make our own decisions, and even though they were dumb, a lot of them. Gosh, we played outside. We drank from the hose. We watched Saturday morning
As long
cartoons
as you
and
came
ate
home by the time the
cereal out
lights
of
were
a box. We are the generation that had the most self care.
yeah,
So the benefit for us is that we've got one foot in that pre-computer times. We didn't grow up, not hardly any of us, with any exposure to computers at all.
no,
So one foot there, and then look where we are now.
yeah,
So we have the unique experience of knowing what it was and what it is. It's a beautiful generation because
yes,
we played outside. We
yeah,
we we learned about life outside, and we still have the exposure to technology to boot.
yeah.
So
I agree.
yeah.
And we had telephones that were stuck to the wall, and
Yes, with cords that stretched around the house.
you wanted to find out if your friend could come out and play, you literally had to go to their house and knock on the door and ask them.
I know, because you were not to be on the telephone calling anybody,
Yeah.
right?
So
You
no, I
know.
agree with you totally. And
Mhm.
yeah, and then luckily we didn't have the internet and phones and computers and like they do now, because
Mhm.
um, a lot of stuff we did back then you don't want out there like they are now. So out on every social media that you can see. But we won't go there. That's another episode altogether.
Oh, but
Uh,
we built forts.
yep. Yep, we
You
did.
know, we had a ball. We had a
Yep.
good time, and we played with
So,
darts.
yeah. And yeah, now they don't even call it lawn darts anymore, but you have to get the other
Yeah.
stuff. But no, I agree with you. So I think everybody should go grab your book, sit
Mhm.
down, read it, try your relationship recognition course, see how it goes, do the quiz, and then if you still think you need the help, you're there to guide them through whatever they need to do. I'm glad you
Oh,
came on here and
absolutely.
shared your story. I know a lot of people can learn from. We had a regular guest of ours who's a friend of mine, Terry Lynn Horvat, come on, and she said, "Dawn to the earth and empowering, down to earth and empowering." So that's what she was saying about
Oh,
you.
thank
So that's
you.
so we get a lot of people that are liking what they're hearing and seeing, and I'm glad you came. But
Yeah.
before we leave, do you have one last bit of advice or tidbit or anything that you'd like to throw out to everybody before we leave, that we can leave the show on a positive note?
Well, if you want the most intimacy in your relationship that you can imagine, remember three sentences. Does it need to be said? Does it need to be said by me? Does it need to be said by me right now? If you can do that,
Freight
watch.
merchandise. Exactly.
Mhm.
So we're going to end it there. And like my friend Sonia just said, thank you, Kari, for sharing. We're all very happy that you were able to share your story with us. I know it's hard to sometimes get up in front of people and explain things that you've went
Mhm.
through. But thank you for watching. We're getting a lot of people. Jennifer's throwing hearts at you there. And my friend Darren just logged in saying he just jumped on. He'll have to watch the replay. So yes, you will. And this will be up for replay. So watch it, hit hashtag replay when you leave comments and that in there. We'll try and answer them if we can. But I want to thank you, Kari, for coming on. I know it's late, and I
Thank you.
appreciate it. And I hope maybe in the future, maybe after we get more podcasts going through, maybe in a year or so down the line, we'll bring you back on and see how things are going, and you'll share with us all the new stuff that you're doing.
Good. Cool beans.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And to everybody out there, I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks. I think it's 2 weeks tonight. We have another guest raring to go to share their story with you. So until then, remember, if anybody asks, say the butler did it.